You are listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Wednesday the 5th of August, 2026. It is 45 days after the summer solstice. It is 48 days before the autumnal equinox. In today's episode, more on Long Island potatoes, a major court case, the transatlantic telegraph cable, Harry Houdini, and the nuclear test ban treaty. Today's forecast: partly sunny with a chance of precipitation. High near 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 28.9 Celsius. South wind around 7 miles per hour. The sun rises today at 5:56 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 1:02 p.m. The sun sets today at 8:07 p.m. Civil twilight ends at 8:37 p.m. and nautical twilight ends at 9:14 p.m. The length of daytime today is 2 minutes, 8 seconds shorter than yesterday. The third quarter of the moon arrives today at 10:22 p.m. The moon sets today at 1:25 p.m. and then it rises again at 11:21 p.m. These are the predicted tides today for Horns Hook. In the wee hours, high tide, 3:44 a.m., 1 meter 40. In the morning, low tide, 9:45 a.m., 12 centimeters. In the afternoon, high tide, 4:09 p.m., 1 meter 65. At night, low tide, 10:30 p.m., 12 centimeters. In our shared realm of plants and animals, as we continue to think about Long Island potatoes, it's an important part of their history that they aren't native to these parts. The Lenape, Matinecock, Shinnecock, and others native to this part of the world relied on the classic three sisters: corn, beans, and squash. Potatoes, native to the Andes, actually made their way to this island in the early 19th century, brought here from Europe, perhaps from Ireland, and it was Polish and Irish farmers who began ramping up production on the island just before the First World War. So like so many familiar traditions, this one isn't actually all that old. The main varieties still in cultivation are the Yukon Gold, Red Chieftain, Red Norland, Russet, Katahdin, and an old favorite, the Green Mountain. Commemorations. Freedom of the Press. On this day in 1735, John Peter Zenger was acquitted of seditious libel by a jury in what was then the colony of New York. Zenger was the printer who produced the first independent newspaper in the colony, the New York Weekly Journal. He had published articles critical of the royal governor, William Cosby. The governor had brought suit, and he willfully interfered with the legal process, trying to manipulate grand juries and eventually disbarring Zenger's attorneys. But Zenger won, because what he had published was factually true. The case did not establish legal precedents, but it did help establish in people's minds the importance both of an independent judiciary and the freedom of the press in New York. On this day in 1858, the first transoceanic telegraph cable went into service between North America and Europe. It extended from Trinity Bay, Newfoundland, to Valentia, Ireland. The American businessman Cyrus West Field had organized the laying of the cable. 4 ships had met in the middle of the Atlantic that July. 2 of them, the Niagara and the Gorgon, set off for Newfoundland, while the other 2, the Agamemnon and the Valorous, headed for Ireland. The cable stretched nearly 2,000 miles and lay at depths of up to 2 miles below the surface. Queen Victoria sent the first message to President James Buchanan, and he telegraphed her back. Sadly, the cable went silent just a few weeks later. A new, more durable cable would be laid in 1861, but history was made. On this day in 1926, the master escape artist and illusionist Harry Houdini performed an astounding stunt. He had been challenged by the Egyptian magician Rahman Bey to undertake the ordeal. Houdini was sealed inside a 700-pound bronze coffin and lowered into a pool at the Hotel Shelton in New York City. With no external air source, he spent a full 91 minutes inside the box. An assistant called out the times via a telephone link to Houdini. He had to carefully control his breathing for the hour and a half he spent enclosed, so as not to succumb to the buildup of carbon dioxide in the coffin. It was his last public stunt. Houdini died later that year, but you will have to wait until October to hear that story. A breakthrough. On this day in 1963, the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty was signed by representatives of the United States, the Soviet Union, and Great Britain. It prohibited the testing of nuclear weapons in outer space, underwater, or in the atmosphere. The nuclear powers China and France chose not to participate, but it was the first major treaty to begin limiting nuclear armaments. More would follow. The recent Cuban Missile Crisis had focused minds on containing the dangers of nuclear weapons. Thank God. And that is the Observatory, Wednesday the 5th of August, 2026.